I mean, these are the challenges of a coalition government and individual voices in Italy, of course, making these comments. Claudio Borghi, a man whose appointment to the head of the lower house of Parliament's budget committee earlier this summer, you may remember, Karen, caused a significant bump in the Italian yields as well. So his comments this morning on the radio, clearly not something that would chime very well with Giovanni Tria, the economy minister. He's now back in Rome, actually. He flew back late last night because there's still a huge amount of detail around the Italian budget that needs to be hashed out, he said, including some of the economic forecast data that we were expecting last week that's still not been released. Now, in terms of the individuals being blamed by Luigi Di Maio for terrorism in the markets, the chief one is Pierre Moscovici, the commissioner for here in Europe, of course, for financial affairs. He made a number of comments over the course of yesterday about his displeasure, essentially, with the way the Italian budget seemed to be shaping up, based really just on the one number we've heard so far, that 2.4% deficit target as a ratio of GDP. I had a chance to ask him yesterday whether the Italians should be worried about the Commission's response to their new budget once they get it. Take a listen.
The Italian government presented a budget with a 2.4 deficit, not only for next year, but also for the 3 years to come, which is, of course, a very significant, and more than that, deviation if you look at what was committed before. So that's the point. I think the Italian government must tell the truth to the Italian. That is more public expenditure that can make you popular for a while, but then who pays in the end? And with a very high debt, Italy is the country with an expansive stance. So the Commission will exert all its powers, not to impose austerity, because we are not pro-austerity, but just to have the defense of the Italian interest and the European interest.
Now, a few of the finance ministers I spoke to yesterday expressed their sympathies, essentially, for Mr. Tria. They understood, they said that he was in a very difficult situation. He had, of course, wanted that 2.4% deficit target to be much lower, around 1.6%. He is now, as I mentioned, back in Rome trying to hash out some of the details of this. We've heard also from the Commission Vice President Valdis Dombrovskis saying he has questions about this Italian budget. But until we see more details, and this is what Mr. Tria said to his counterparts last night in the meetings, he doesn't know what those details are going to look like quite yet. He's promised that the deficit will come down over the next few years. That's something he made as a promise over the course of a weekend in an interview, but again to his counterparts here. But until we get more details about the budget, a lot of the European commissioners here and finance ministers saying they're not going to try and pass too much judgment just yet.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.